Hello and welcome to Minecraft Chapter 14. Woo! Yes, Chapter 14. Okay, today we are going to get started with MystCraft. So let's go down here to our MystCraft designated area. Now, MystCraft is based upon a series of books, the first of which was called Myst. And there's also computer games developed in regards to those books as well. But the key element is the books. And what MystCraft allows you to do is you are able to create a book which contains a description of an entirely new world. And in MystCraft, those are called ages. And then you can use that book to travel back and forth to those ages. And the idea is that you can create an age that is a world that you want to explore, or you want to travel to, or maybe even you want to live in. So if you wanted maybe a world that was all desert, you could create an age that was all desert. And there's very little that you're limited by. There are some limitations, and there are some dangers as well. Now, if you remember, in our travels in the various chests, we found these pages. And so these pages are descriptions. These are what you put into the books in order to describe the age that you want to travel to, or the world that you want to travel to. Now, there are a lot of pages, and we have only found a few. So, for example, this is the teal color. This says for tendrils, natural watercolor, cyan, ocean biome, eternal rain, west, and a single biome. So, for example, if I put, in some of these, let me rephrase that, some of these are nouns and some of them are adjectives. For example, the teal is a descriptive adjective. So let's say natural watercolor, I could put teal in front of it, and I would have a world that would have teal water. Or I could put, say, cyan in front of it, and I'd have a world that has cyan water. And some descriptions go better than some pages go better together than others. And part of the idea is that when you create your age, you want to create an age that makes sense. The more sense that it makes, the more stable it will be. And we'll talk about unstable ages later when we get to it. But for example, I have a page here for a single biome, and if I combine that, say, with an ocean biome, then I would be creating an age that has only oceans, which probably wouldn't be too terribly exciting. But as I said, there are a lot of pages. This doesn't even come close to how many there are. We found these in treasure chests and dungeons that we found. The other way to get these pages is trading with villagers, and you saw that in a previous video when I went looking for emerald trades. I found some villagers that traded pages. The other way we can find pages is in these ages that we create. Some of them will have a library, and there will be some pages in those libraries. So the idea that we have now is we want to be able to create an age that will be useful to us, but we really don't have the pages, or at least not what I'm currently looking for, that will be useful to me. So I'm going to have to create random ages. And the idea there is that when you create an age, like I said, you're describing it. So let's say I had this natural watercolor as part of my book that I'm describing an age. But there's no color that I've put with it. Like I said, I could put teal and have teal water, or cyan and have cyan water. But if I don't put a color, then when the book is created, it just randomly selects what color it will use. Or it might not use any color at all. So when you don't create a complete book, it randomly creates the rest of it, and that's how you get random books. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. There's a couple of different things that we need in order to make books. And the first thing that we need are pages. And pages are made with sugarcane. We put 3 in a row like this, we get paper. So if you remember, down over here by the water's edge, I have some sugar canes growing, and part of that is for the sugar I can get from them, and part of that is to be able to make these pages. So I'm just going to go ahead and make as many pages as I have right there. So I have 42 pages. That's good. The other thing that I need in order to make these books is leather, and that's the binding or the covers of the books. Now, leather is normally obtained from cows, and that would require creating a cow farm, breeding the cows, and then selectively culling them to get their leather. And I really didn't want to have to deal with that because it was a bit of a hassle. So I installed a mod called Rotten Flesh to Leather. And what this mod does is fairly simple. You can take rotten flesh, and I've already cooked some up here, but if you put rotten flesh into a furnace and let it cook up, you will get these leather strips. And so, as I said, I've already cooked up quite a few of these leather strips. I'm going to go ahead and just collect these out of here, like so. And so there you can see the rotten flesh becomes leather strips. And now, if I put the leather strips in this pattern, it will create leather for me. So this basically means I can get the leather I need from the zombies that I have to kill anyway when they attack me, as opposed to having to ranch a bunch of cows. Real quick, as a brief interlude, I died over here. I went looking for mossy cobblestone in order to add the auto repair to all of my tools. And on the way back, I was jumped and killed, and creeper blew up, and when I went back, I had lost all of my tools because of the creeper explosion. So I came back and I made all new tools, and then I was exploring down there in the depths of the earth, and I fell into lava, and I lost all of my tools. So I had to remake them again. So I have tools back. I've switched to a rapier as opposed to the longsword I had before, but I lost my silky pickaxe, the one with the silk touch that I spent all that time and effort making, getting the materials and making it. So that kind of sucked, but such is life. So anyway, we have the leather, which is used for the covers of the books, and we have the paper, which is used for the insides of the books, obviously. The next thing that we need to make is ink, and that's pretty simple. We have glass bottles, and we need to fill those glass bottles first with water. And I will eventually put a water source down here to make easy access to that. But for now, I'll just go up here to my kitchen. And all you got to do is dunk those in there, and you get water bottles. Great. So then, all you have to do is, we'll go back down here to our crafting area. And if you put a water bottle with 2 ink sacs anywhere, you'll get an ink vial. And that's how you get your ink. So we'll just make 8 of those. Perfect. Okay. So now, this tool here is called the inkwell. And the inkwell is how we make linking pages. And we need those for a lot of things. So when you put, take a bottle of the ink and put it in here, it will fill this area up with ink and give you back the empty bottle. And if you take a page here, you can create a link panel. Sorry, not a linking page, a link panel there. And the link panel is what allows us to, is the item that allows us to travel back and forth via these books. All right? And I know that to start with, we're going to need 2 of those. So I'm going to grab 2. Now, the next kind of book that we can make is called a notebook. Or a note, where is it right here? Notebook. And I'm going to make, and they're made like this, and I'm going to make 4 of these. Just to prepare myself for later. Now, this middle section here is called the writing desk. And in here I can put in these notebooks like so. Now, each of these notebooks can contain pages, some of these pages that we have over here. So I'm going to take out these pages, and so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to organize these somewhat. So this is an ocean biome. I'm going to put that into this notebook. This notebook here will contain all of my biomes. And then single biome is actually a biome descriptor, but it kind of goes well in here, so I'm going to put that in there as well. And then these colors, cyan, I'm going to put in this book. Oops, so if I click here, now you can see I have the cyan in there, and I'm going to put the teal in there. And then in this book, I'm going to put this one that says Eternal Rain, and I think that's, it may be natural watercolor. And then in this book, I'm going to put West, and I'm going to put this Tendrils. So I'm basically just organizing these so that when I go looking for things, I won't have to search through. Right now, I only have 8, but at some point I could have very, very many more, and I don't have to go looking for them. So this interface here allows you to make copies of the pages that are listed over here. And the way you do that is first you take a vial of ink, and you put it here, and that fills up this vial of ink here. Take a blank piece of paper and put it there, and then all I have to do is right-click on whatever page I want to copy. So I'm going to copy this Tendrils page and go like that. And there you can see I now have a Tendrils page, and I'm going to take that out. So that's how you make notebooks and how you use them. The next kind of book you need to make is called a linking book. And that's very simple. You just use a piece of leather and one of these link panels, and you'll get an unlinked link book. Holding that in your hand, you want to right-click with it, and then it becomes a linking book. And what that has done is that linking book is now linked to this exact place, right where I'm standing and right where I'm facing. So if I'm somewhere else and I use this book, I will be transported here to this spot. And the linking book is very important with MystCraft because when you travel to these other ages, the linking book is one of the few ways that you have of coming back to your original world. If you don't have a linking book, you potentially could be stuck in another age and never be able to come back. So it's very important that you always remember to make a linking book back to the overworld for wherever you travel. Now, to create a descriptive book, which is how we create our ages, we need a few things. This here is the book binder. And first we put the piece of leather here, that's what the book will be bound in. And the first thing we always put is the link panel. And that's all you need, and this would just be a completely random age that we would create. You can add whatever pages you want in here. And so for this case, I want to have a Tendrils. So this world will have some type of Tendrils. The rest of it is all going to be randomly determined, but it should have at least some kind of Tendrils in it. So once you put in whatever pages you want in there, if you feel like you've described it enough or you feel like you're set, you go ahead and take out this descriptive book like so. And again, if you look at the descriptive book, first of all, it shows you the pages that you put in there, but it's age number 2, and this button, this place here, if I click on this, this will transport me to this age. And again, if I didn't have a linking book, which I made earlier, I wouldn't be able to come back. So what I usually do is take a couple of these lecterns, and I don't have anything good with me, but I'm just going to use a plop of sand, like so, and put this lectern on top, and put this descriptive book right there. And I'm going to go ahead and store away my ink, my paper, my glass bottle, and my leather, just in case something does happen to me. I don't want to lose all that. Make sure I have my linking book so I can get back here. And now we take the plunge, and we're going to travel to this world and see what it looks like. So all we got to do is click here and wait. And sometimes it can take a while for the world to load up. But there you go. It has loaded up. Now, this rainbow is pretty cool. I don't know where that comes from or how that's made, but that is pretty darn neat. Okay, so when you come to the new world that you've created or randomly created, you always start off on this stone platform, so you never have to worry too much about that. Now, all of these squiggly things here, it's easier to see on this mini-map. All they look like squiggly lines. Those are the Tendrils. And they look like they're made out of oak wood, which is pretty darn cool as well. But basically, this is a whole new world. It's not a separate area of the overworld that I was in before. This is a completely brand new world that is generating and has never been in, and there's probably nobody even here. Well, there isn't anybody here but monsters. You can see there's snow there. There's vines growing off of some of these tendrils. So this, and like I said, these are all wood. This would be a great place to come if you just wanted to collect a ton of wood, because all of this is wood. Now, I didn't bring myself any blocks with which to build with, so I'm basically trapped up here with no way to get down, but I could bring blocks back. This rainbow effect is pretty neat, though. I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just plop this down here, put the lectern on it, and put our linking book back to the overworld. Now, you'll notice that you can't, when you use this book, the way to think of it is that when you click this button, you go into that book and it takes you to wherever it takes you. So you can't take the book with you when you go through. So that's one of the reasons why you need to always make sure you have a linking book, because once I put this linking book down here, now I won't have it anymore. So I'm going to use it to travel back to the overworld, and here I am. Now, everything that's been done over there will remain there. So if I go back over here and use this to travel back, I will be back here, and there's my book again that I can go back and forth. And so now I can travel back and forth between those two worlds, if that's something that I wanted to do. So let's go ahead and do this all over again, and let's create a random world. So first thing I'm going to need is I'm going to need 2 of these, and I'll need 2 of these, and I'll need 2 of these. And we go to the ink station first, and we make our link panels 1 and 2. And then the first thing we're going to make is our linking book, because this, remember, is our safe way of getting back here. And tune it to this place. Good. And then we'll go to our bookbinder here, and we'll do this. And we're not going to put in any pages, so this descriptive book will take us to a completely random age. So let's take it out. And once again, I'll get out 2 lecterns, and I will put it in this corner, put the lectern down, and we'll put the descriptive book there. This is age 3. Now, this is nothing magical. Basically, the first one I created was age 2. Age 1 is considered this overworld where we've been at this whole time. And as every time you make a new age, it just gets a new number, age 3. I always double check to make sure I have my linking book with me so I can get back. And let's go see what this one looks like. And as I said, it usually does take a little bit of time to load up, but there we go. We're snowy, we're in a jungle, obviously. So let's just walk around a little bit and see what we see. It is nighttime, might be a little bit dangerous. And these worlds, they can be made with weather, they can be made with no weather. They can be made to be daylight all the time. They can be made to be nighttime all the time. There's all kinds of different possibilities in these worlds and how you make them. And what I'm looking for here is the library, and it's in the upper right-hand corner of that mini-map. You might have been able to just barely see it, but I'm going to head towards it so you can see why I want to look for these libraries. And there you can see it a little bit better. It looks like that stone-colored structure, and I can kind of see it in the distance there. So we'll head towards it. This is a very gloomy age and very snowy. And you can see that the time is 7:15, but it says nighttime, and that is because this is probably an eternal nighttime world. I'm going to put that to keep monsters from coming in, and I'll put up this torch. And this is a library. And I have a feeling I'm going to get visited by other monsters. Maybe not. I wish I had another block to put down. Oh, I know what I can do. Yeah, so this is the library, and as you can see, there's some lecterns in here, and there's pages on each one of these lecterns. And I can take these pages off, so this is a Forest Hills biome. This one is a netherrack block. This one is a small biomes. This one is a hell biome. That's not good. crystalline formations. All right. Now, the next thing you want to do is... Oh, see, zombies are out there. If you cut away some of these bookshelves, you will occasionally find... Just feel a bit safer there. You'll occasionally find this chest, and of course in the chest, there's so much more. So there's a native biome controller, water block, olive, which should be a color, double length. You can use double length on, say, the sun or the moon to have the daytime last longer or nighttime to last longer. There's a cyan. I've already got that page. You will find duplicates. That's going to happen. And ocean biome, another one that I already had. So there you go. Now, this particular age doesn't really interest me all that much. So usually what I do with this is I'm going to scavenge these lecterns, because those are always useful. And then I'm actually going to scavenge some of these books as well. I can use these for enchanting. I'm not going to grab all of them, just a few like that. That's good. And I will put down a block like so, and this. Put my linking book on it. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'll show you something else here. You don't have to... uh-oh. I seem to have lost my linking book. That is not going to be a good thing. Okay, I found my book. A little bit glitchy, but there it is. So, take that back, put it in my hand. Whew, that was lucky. I thought I was going to lose my book and then be trapped in this world forever. Scared me. Alright. So, anyway, as I was saying, you don't have to put the book on a lectern. You can just use it out of your hand. When you do that, it will just drop to the ground. And if it drops to the ground, you run the possibility that it could disappear over time. But if you have no intentions of ever coming back to a particular age, sometimes that's an acceptable thing that you figure you're not going to want, you don't care about. So this particular age, I'm not going to go back to this age. So I'll destroy this book at some point in time. I'm just going to put it in here for now, just to get it out of the way. And I'll stick these books. These books will not be used for MystCraft. I'll use them with enchanting later on. And going back to our books here, if you remember that one of the one of the pages I have is called Tendrils, and of the ones I picked up, one of them is called Netherrack Block. So if I put Netherrack Block with Tendrils, remember that in this world here, where we have all these tendrils that are made out of wood, if I did that with the netherrack block, all these tendrils would be made out of netherrack block. So that's how you combine pages in sort of an adjective noun format to create the type of world that you wanted. So one of the things that I'm basically going to try to look for, and I don't even know if it exists, is I want a page that is clay. And then I can put that into, or combine that with tendrils to see if I can create a world, or an age, I should say, with clay tendrils. And if I can do that, that will be a great way for me to get all the clay that I possibly need. So, but that requires a lot of exploration in order to find those pages to see. I don't even know if a clay page exists. But I'm basically going to spend a lot of time exploring some MystCraft ages, seeing what I can see, seeing what I can find, in order to make gathering the materials I need for the great project a little bit simpler. That's all that I got for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something about MystCraft. If you have questions, let me know. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.